And welcome to Flexible Games, where we are kicking off a new series in Parkitect. One of my Patreons suggested, after Kingdoms and Castles finished, to do like a retro game in like Rollercoaster Tycoon 2. And I thought, I bet you there's been an update to that sort of game model, and taking away from Planet Coaster, there were elements of Planet Coaster that were fun, but there were elements that just made it tedious. So I went on a look, and sure enough, we have Parkitect, which is very much in the same vein as Rollercoaster Tycoon and RC2 as well. So after playing for a little bit and getting kind of my legs, figuring out how the things work, we're going to jump into it here. And as a quick notion, this is moddable, and I do have a mod allowing you to ride coasters. So yeah, good times. So we're going to go into New Park, and as this says, a full campaign is being worked on for the final version, so we are, we will get into a campaign maybe when it is actually released. But we're going to try a large sandbox, and let's see. Yeah, we're just going to get the biggest possible amount of space. Not that we're going to fill it in. And we're going to do money enabled, research enabled, and goals enabled. Granted, since it's a sandbox game, I don't think there is a whole lot of research that we need to do. So let's jump into a large sandbox. And the game is really enjoyable. And let's pause. All right, so this is very much like Rollercoaster Tycoon, and you can see the size of this land is huge. So you can build a giant park in this space, and we're just going to jump into it here. And yeah, let's build some paths. So I'll go over some of the best practices. I might struggle here and there. And the other thing that this adds an extra little wrinkle in that you have to supply your vendors, all your shops, you have to supply with materials, and we'll get into that in a second. For now, I want to kick off a few rides here. I want to give myself a little space in between in the beginning, because getting people moved in and getting them happy, that's important. But we need rides to bring them in and make them happy. So one thing I want to build a motion simulator, and we're just gonna jump into it here. So we're just gonna build a motion sim, like right. Let's go right here, and then we need the entrance and exit. And the motion sim, I want to disable the fences around it just because I want a nice clean look. And it doesn't mean that they walk and wander everywhere. It just means that those ugly fences are gone. So we need a path scheme. So let's look at these different ones here. As you can see, we have different designs, and everything can be colored as well. So I kind of want to have a blue and white theme going on here. So we're going to pull this out and down like that. So that is one ride, and we start off with 25 grand, and yeah, it's you gotta pick your poisons here. Go-kart tracks, let's find some that might be already done for us. As you can see, these are not cheap, but you got to look at the ratings. So excitement, intensity, nausea. Anybody familiar with the Rollercoaster Tycoon franchise will be very much at home in how this game works. So let's build some I want to get some enterprise action going. I love this ride. And hit space to rotate. Where is the entrances to this? See you can see the. Yeah, you can see the stairs there. So I kind of want to build this here, and then I want the park end or the this to be there, this to be there, and let's take the fences off of this one too. No need for the fences, and we're going to continue that. Let's see, how do I want to do this? I want a good amount of people to be on here. Something like that. A good, good amount of people. And then let's set the cost. I'm going to set this to $4. I'm going to set this to $3. Because if you look, the excitement, intensity, and nausea, the higher the excitement, the more that you can charge. So, yeah, it's a general. And you can also, specify the rounds as basically how long the ride is going to be. Some are different than others. And then we have the Motion Simulator, which you can actually pick which movie is being played. So you can go for a shorter movie, get more throughput, but if you want it, you're going to have to charge less for it. So just FYI. And we need a coaster of some kind. So let's see what kind of coasters we have. We have all sorts of different kinds of coasters. Let's try a mine train coaster. There's quite a few of these that we can jump into, and they're relatively cheap. So let's look at some of these. Very high, medium, high, low, high, low, high, low, high, very high, medium. That would be nice. Bandit's Detour would be nice. Very high, medium. That would be nice right there. The Alpine Ice, also a very good ride. So I'm gonna try Bandit's Detour first, and let's shrink this back up. And again, spacebar to rotate the ride. And you can see the paths there. Now, you hold shift and you go down and up, and that increases and decreases the height of the ride. And if you look at this, it's -3. Why is that -3? 1. This is... Let's try to figure out where this ride is going to be placed. And why it's... I'm trying to get these to line up. And they're not cooperating. Because this... Oh, I think there it is, right there, 2. That's where we want it. As you can see, the paths now line up exactly with the grid, which tells me that it is indeed working. Because there might be some underground elements to this ride, and we want to make sure that we cover all of our bases. Make sure they're right up there. There might be some underground, tunneling involved, which kind of increases the excitement of rides. So let's go ahead and place her down. Where do we want it? I want to leave a little bit of space here for some more rides. Maybe I should flip this around like this. That might be good. So let's go ahead and place it. And we can go in and edit things however we want. So open up paths, right click and drag to clear paths, and then come in here and we want to paint And if you have some issues seeing things, you can hide scenery and get in there. It's like that. So this ride is gonna be pretty good. So let's then come out here, and I'm gonna take away all of this and then join up with my main like that. Okay, so with that done, this ride, pretty good throughput. We have 6 cars per train. We have 2 trains. We can speed up the chain lift speed a little bit. We don't really need music. And the other thing is the decoration. So we have low ratings on our decoration right now. We're gonna need to come in here and adjust some of this decor. So I need to get rid of that and that, and that should be good. And it adds a little decoration to this one, which is nice. As far as cost goes, we have a very high medium, so we'd actually be able to charge like $5.50 for that ride. And the front entrance, I want to be $6, and we're gonna call this well, I came up blank. Let's call it Fantasy Flexible. Fantasy Flexible. Doesn't need to make sense, but it is what it is. Okay, so we want this one open, this one open, and this one open. Thank you very much. All right, so the other thing we're gonna want is, you know, some place for all of our guests to eat and all that kind of stuff, and we'll get into that in a second. For now, we need to open it up so we can actually start making money. And I have noticed people tend to like wander. They'll come in here and then wander and then wander and wander back and forth. So if that becomes a problem, we'll tackle it later on. All right, so the income is rolling in. 18 bucks we've made so far. We've got a, you know, a pretty high intensity ride. We've got a very low intensity ride, and we have a medium intensity ride. So it kind of caters to all sorts of tastes. One thing that we're going to add right in the beginning, we're going to do a shop, but it's going to be an info kiosk. I want an info kiosk right at the very beginning. Alright. So if we look at some of these other overlays, we can look at the decoration overlay. And the decoration overlay tells you, well, how immersive is your park. And as you can see at the very top of the screen here, source of bad decoration rating. Anything dealing with employees or, you know, other than rides and, you know, scenery, it all goes into removing decoration because it breaks that immersion. If you walked around Disneyland and you saw all of the behind the scenes tunnels and employees and all of that stuff behind the scenes, it would break that immersion, and that is what that pink means. So anything related to that, as well as your toilets, your first aid rooms, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, this is the very beginnings of a park. And we've got a bunch of people coming in here. We've got a whole 7 people in place at this time. So we also want a sort of food court. I'm thinking like a food court would be best. And I'm going to build this, and it's going to be like disconnected from the area. And before we get into that, though, I need to make sure we have a mechanic wandering around, because he is needed in case any of these rides go down. And we'll micromanage him in a second, and we can rename this guy, and this is going to be Inam in last name 8. Innominate. Yay. So Innominate is our very first mechanic. Alright. I just wanted to make sure we had a mechanic there. That's important. So these rides, this ride in particular, this is a pretty high throughput ride. Capacity for 20 people. So in a perfect world, you would have at least that many people in your queue. However many people it takes to ride, you want at least that many in your queue. Oh, problems in nearby park. Yeah, you'll get little events happen, some good, some not. So, you know, I'm hoping for good events. Not guaranteed, though. So if we want to do like a food court style thing, let's make sure it's really got some capacity to it. And I want to go across this way, so we're gonna do shops, road, shops, road, blank, road, shops, road, I think. And then mirror. Oh. And you need these spaces for places to sit down and such. Okay, so we're gonna have some employee only paths. That's what these last tabs are. Employee only paths. Only employees will walk on them. Only employees will use them. Okay. And then we need access points. Alright. Like that. I'll show you how to get all of this stuff up and running. Oh, one more employee path right there. Because I want to do a bunch of shops and stuff around here. But we don't really have a lot of people, so I'm not too worried about it at the moment. And I'm going to try to go for a fantasy style design. So yeah, it's gonna be all fantasy style. Granted, the rides might not be perfect because a lot of them are prefab rides. You know, to build a ride like this would take, you know, a few hours of placement and other things. Looks like our Enterprise ride is doing good. There is one ride that I really want to test in this early game, and that is a wooden coaster that I got off of the workshop, and that is the dual heat, but it's 30 grand to build that thing. So we don't quite have the money yet to build it. So what this little area is, this is going to be shops. Okay, now for another little detail, we need to set up some zones. So if you pull up the employees tab, there's this zones right here. the zones, you can actually mark off different zones for your employees. So let's go ahead and mark off the very beginning of this zone here. And you want to make sure if you have let's get in here. I want to hide scenery. You want to make sure if you have mechanics wandering around that you get as much, you get that initial, I go one more in, but you want to get that box right there because that's what they actually use to repair. So you want to get that box, and I want to pull up some more just in case somebody throws up or something on the path. And then, so this will be sort of the main drag here. Oh, I'm gonna have to rethink this. I need a little bit more space in here. Darn. Yeah, I'm gonna need a little bit more space. So let me, what are you doing? I'm gonna pick you up and move you out here because you don't belong in there. And then zones you can actually name. So I'm gonna name this one, we're gonna name it entrance customer. I make a difference between customer and employee only, so that's why I named it like that. So I want to bring up paths. I need a, oops, sorry dude. I need a little bit more space in here. Because if we pull up utility buildings, there is a staff room that we need, a staff training room that we're going to need, and we're going to need a depot. And I'll show you how these depots work in a second. Yeah. We'll get to that in a second. So, this is why I needed the extra space. I wanted to make sure that all fit. And then let's go back to regular paths. So there's that path. We'll take care of this stuff in a second. As we progress, we'll cover all of our bases. Don't worry. And yeah, then we need to connect the transport system. We need to dig this down. As you can see, we're at 2 now. And then you see there's one right down here. Yeah, we need to connect them up. Just like that. There we go. Now it's connected and happy. All right. And now it's raining. So rain actually affects gameplay. If you look at rain protection, some of your rides actually offer rain protection. So some of your rides will get added attention, added customers, extra customers when it rains. So some of your rides will woefully go untouched when it's raining. And you can see we have new lighting and stuff. The lighting system for the game was a recent addition. What are the thoughts around this? Oh, more intense, yeah. We're kind of catering to very few tastes right at the moment. Okay, we've got a spot of vomit here, so we're gonna need a janitor right away. And the janitor, the zone is going to be entrance customer. And as you can see, they actually have levels, and you can actually send them to the staff training, which is one of the buildings I made. So you can basically force train them if you want. If you don't, that's okay too. So I'm going to rename this guy to Kondomize. So Kondomize is a janitor. Yay. So this info kiosk is just selling park maps, which helps people, you know, go around. It makes me a little bit of money, but, you know, in the end, I basically have an infinite supply of park maps. I'm not sure if that's a bug or not. But... All right. Well, that will have to do it for this episode. Please hit that like button if you are looking forward to the series. Comment down below if you have any thoughts or requests. And I will see you next time.